Good morning. We'll start with a peace chant in English. There's peace in the sky. There's peace on earth. There's peace in the heavens. There's peace in the world. There's peace in the waters. There's peace on land. There is peace in the plants, animals, flowers, insects, and herbs. There's peace with men and peace with women and children. There's peace with the gods and peace with the goddesses. May this all-pervading peace enter unto us and permeate us. Om, peace, peace, peace be unto us all. Today I think the song that the choir chose was absolutely, we could say, the whole reason for the topic. Create Vrindavan in your heart. We're going to talk about Krishna today, who is the preserver of the universe in the pantheon of Hindu gods and goddesses. There's Shiva, Vishnu, Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva. Brahma, the creator, Vishnu, the preserver, Shiva, the destroyer. Vishnu is the one whom the other gods call upon whenever there is trouble. And they send him down, ask him to, not send him down, plead with him to go down and right the universe. So Krishna is the 8th incarnation of Vishnu. They say we've had 9, and there's 10. I don't know why they limit it, because Krishna in the Gita says, when goodness grows weak, when evil increases, I make myself a body. In every age I come back to deliver the holy, to destroy the sin of the sinner, and to establish righteousness. So whenever the universe gets out of balance, the gods have a meeting up in Vaikuntha, and they decide, could he please come down and make things right again? Make us all on the right path, going towards our goal, which is realization of our own divinity. But when we read Krishna's life in the Bhagavatam and poetry, he's kind of an enigma. First of all, as a child, he's really naughty, and he's always playing pranks. He's always doing things that are just, you would not expect God to do. You would expect, or maybe you wouldn't, I would expect God to show us how to behave righteously. Well, not baby Gopala. Nope. Then he leaves Vrindavan, which is an analogy for paradise on earth. He leaves Vrindavan and becomes the king of Mathura, and he has to do politics and take care of the kingdom. It's no longer the paradise on earth that Vrindavan was. And then we get into the war between the Pandavas and the Kauravas, the Mahabharata, the Gita. And Krishna is suddenly Arjuna's friend and advisor. And he tells, this is where he gives the entire message of how in our human birth, we can attain liberation and Godhead. But as I say, in the early days, he's stealing butter, he's playing pranks, he's been sent down to right the world, there's demons coming. Now this is mythology. The demons are the things that haunt us, okay? The evil things that we see. Well, he's been sent down to take care of these demons. But he spends most of his time playing with his cowherd boyfriends, the gopas, and teasing and playing pranks on the gopis. And everyone in the entire village complains to his adoptive mother, Jashoda, that they don't know what to do with him. They just can't cope. I'm going to read a quote from David Kinsley, who's a religious studies professor and sociologist. He said, Krishna's life in Vrindavan shows the freedom and spontaneity of the divine, manifested in pranks and misbehavior in Vrindavan, pranks and general misbehavior that had not yet reached rebellion, much as a child acts with little premeditation. Now, we all watch babies and small children playing, and you can't predict what they're going to do next. 1 minute they're doing this, and next minute they're doing that. But we look at it with indulgence and love because it amuses us. Well, this is what baby Gopala did in Vrindavan. He amused everyone. He also, as Swami Swahananda used to say, who's in charge of the family when there's a baby? The baby is. The baby is always in charge. Your mind is always on the baby. Your mind is always, how to take care of the baby, how to do this, how to do that, making sure the baby is happy. So, how does God keep the minds of the people of Vrindavan on him? He appears as a baby. And everyone in the entire village, that's all they think about. Now, he also provokes the maternal instinct, the maternal and paternal instinct to take care of, to protect, to make it right. But it's also a very, very approachable and intimate relationship. How many of us are leery of going up to a baby and patting them and making them feel good? It's a very intimate relationship. And I think Krishna's life is in song also. Surdas and Jayadev were two Bengali poets who wrote many songs about Krishna. This is one of Surdas's in a description of the baby. He tries to come outside. It's so easy now to crawl within the courtyard, but the doorstep stops him every time. He trips and falls, can't get across. It's all such an enormous task. Once he measured the earth in a mere 3 steps. Now he's stopped at the edge of his own home. Now this is the Lord appearing for us so that we can approach. To paraphrase Kinsley one more time, God, as baby Krishna, is so absorbed in his own play that the world order has begun to run down. Testimony to a divine freedom and spontaneity that transcends the world order. Again, testimony to the essential nature of this divine as self-delight. Now, we have always described the ultimate experience as Satchidananda, truth, bliss, and consciousness, which is not in the order I just gave them to you. But the ultimate nature of the divine is bliss. It's complete and absolute bliss. This is what the analogy of Vrindavan is showing us, how it would appear to humans. During this time in Vrindavan, various and sundry demons came, and evil approached Vrindavan, and it was Krishna's duty as Vishnu to save the people. Well, he did it, but barely taking time out of his play. And he kind of incorporated it into his play. We had him lifting Mount Govardhan to save people from the flood. We had him dancing on the head of Kaliya, who resided in the Jamuna River at Vrindavan, to save all his gopis and gopas and the cows. Surdas describes it as holding his foot in his hand, Gopal is sucking his toe. He lies alone in his cradle, absorbed in his happy play. Shiva has started worrying. Brahma has become fearful. The whole play of Vrindavan and the whole story of it, which you heard in the song this morning, is one of beauty, grace, song, dance. The flowers are sweet. The forest is beautiful. They call it the vines all produce lovely jasmine flowers. The cows give milk in abundance. Everyone is at peace in Vrindavan. It's the perfect description of, say, Eden before the fall. When God is with you, playing with you, you have no worries, you have nothing to achieve, nothing to find. Everything is right there. And over the entire thing is the sound of Krishna's flute. He plays his flute constantly. And if anyone's mind has started to wander in Vrindavan to something, to their household duties, to their, oh, I don't know, I wonder what so-and-so's doing, I better go get the milk. The sound of the flute calls their minds immediately back to him, and they go out looking for him. Pleasing song, this is to quote again, pleasing song is the natural speech of the people, and their natural gait is dance. In the heavenly sporting ground of Krishna's paradise, ordinary things such as walking and speaking lose their pragmatic nature altogether and become dance and song. And where Krishna is, nothing is ordinary, nothing is harsh, and nothing is graceless. Now, in order to realize our own divinity, it would be helpful if we could establish this kind of Vrindavan in our hearts, as the song said, where we look at the beauty and grace in the world and be grateful for all of it that we have. Yes, we will have some things that will get glitches in paradise. But if we have trained our minds to keep it in the place of thinking of God at all times, the glitches don't consume us. Personally, I've always felt Santa Barbara was pretty much paradise. And we have the fire occasionally, we have glitches. But overall, I've always felt it was perfect for me. Now, this latest one has thrown a bigger glitch, and you have to question, okay, what's happening? But as I say, it's mostly in our minds and how we interpret things. Events happen to everyone, but we're in charge of our interpretation. This bucolic perfect life seemed to be also present in Ramakrishna's early life in Kamarpukur. He skipped school, didn't like math, confused him. Went out and played in the fields. Life was very happy for him and happy for the villagers because they all loved him. He would go around and tease them. He would go talk to them. He would put on plays for them, plays of the Ramayana and things like that. So he also had this kind of baby Krishna early life. But now the reason that we all look beyond is because this call to the eternal is ever present in the world. We're all sitting here today because we think we know there's more to the world than what we see. There's something greater than this world, something bigger than this world that we want to become one with. Of course, we already are, but we don't know it. We already are one with that. And the happiness and joy of being with God is personified in these stories of Vrindavan, or Braj as they call it, because it wasn't just one event, it wasn't just Krishna. It was like, I don't know, did any of you see that movie Brigadoon? In the old days, Brigadoon appears out of the mist in Scotland, I think. And it's a magical place where everything is wonderful. And you can choose to stay in Brigadoon or you can leave. But it only appears for 2 days or something. Well, Vrindavan is like that magical Brigadoon. We can find it and we can get there. We have to establish it in our own hearts and live there. Another quote, which I can't remember where I got it, okay? The call of Krishna's flute cares nothing for the world and its social and moral laws. It comes crashing down upon man and cannot be denied. Even the gods are enchanted by it. By means of his flute, Krishna fills himself and the universe with bliss. He distracts everyone and everything from normal activity and enchants them to revel in ecstasy. Now, if this isn't a description of Samadhi, I don't know what is. This is what happened to Ramakrishna over and over again as we read in the Gospel. He is listening to a song and he goes into an ecstatic state. He sees a cloud and he loses all consciousness. This is what I'm certainly here for. I would like that. But it's living in contact with the infinite. And all of this mythology and stories that we hear in the Bible, in Sufism, in Judaism, in Vedanta, are nothing but a poor description of what is possible. And when I say a poor description, I mean that what all religions are trying to describe is something that cannot be described with words. So they're giving you this picture, this picture, this picture, to give you a hint of where you're going. And for me, obviously, Krishna and Vrindavan are, I think, my favorite place in India. There's kind of a bubble over it, but now there's too many monkeys. The monkeys are kind of putting a glitch in Vrindavan for me. We are also assured by the seers and sages who have realized God, and holy men that we have met here, that the cosmic sound Om is ever present, always in the universe. And we can hear it if we open our hearts and our minds to it. Now this cosmic sound Om, in my interpretation, is the sound of Krishna's flute. And that comes to people who give up the desire for the things of the world. They don't give up the world or the things they have, they give up the desire for them. And there's a big difference between desiring, wanting, and being satisfied. This analogy of Krishna's flute also covers the part where Krishna is the divine lover of the gopis, which is often misinterpreted, very often misinterpreted. His sport with the gopis. Now I'm going to tell you one thing. Krishna was 8 years old when the Rasa Leela happened. He was about this high. The gopis were probably 14 and 15. They were the milkmaids of Vrindavan. He was their darling. They all wanted to take care of him. They were all, wanted to please him all the time. In the story of Vrindavan, you hear this love affair between Radha and Krishna, which is so easily misinterpreted and misconstrued. One has to, when they read this, know that Radha is the Divine Mother. She is Shakti. There is no lust or recriminations in Vrindavan. There is only love and bliss. Lust is non-existent there. So you have to look at all of this divine play not as ordinary humans having affairs. I'm going to quote one more time, and it's quite a long one. The love affair between Radha and Krishna is full of laughing and joking, which surrounds the relationship with a cheerful air. In that charming garden by the Jamuna, there blew the south breeze, and they both were joking and talking intimately and amusing each other. This laughter theme dominates their love to the exclusion of the brooding aspects of life. The bitterness of recrimination, guilt, and hurt is never allowed to color their relationship. It is as if genuine love had nothing to do with the world of nastiness and jealousy. In the magic circle, things are always light and cheerful. Anger and pique are very brief, serving only to heighten the bliss of reconciliation. Neither lover is ever injured permanently. Now this, as you can see, is a very, very idealistic relationship. When we have relationships in our normal human life, of course there's guilt about how you treated someone. There's, oh, they should have done that. Why didn't you do this? There's always those things that color relationships. But in the relationship of Radha and Krishna, nothing. Only delight. And that is because there is no lust in it. There's nothing that they expect of each other. They simply delight in each other. Surdas describes Radha describing her feeling about Krishna. And she says, as wing to bird, she's defining Krishna, as wing to bird, water to fish, life to living, as mirror to my hand, the flowers to my hair, kohl to my eyes, tumble to my mouth, musk to my breast, necklace to my throat, ecstasy to my flesh, heart to my home. But tell me, Madhava, beloved, who are you? Who are you really? So, while inhabiting the human form, even the gods, even the Divine Mother can become human enough to wonder. Which means we have to try to have the perfect relationship where we expect nothing. Don't go after, don't try and change anyone you love. They don't change. Simply love them for who they are, because that's the way God put them on this earth and their own karma to work out. Okay, so then Krishna is called away from Vrindavan, and the entire village is in tears. The gopis are hanging onto the cart wheels. The gopas are just, everyone is devastated. He's been taken away from them. It's like your heart being ripped out. And they go to Mathura to see him. and don't recognize him because he has become the king. And there's this distant relationship now. There is a formality to it. It's no longer the easy, intimate, come on, let's go play. He becomes the king. Then comes the battle between the Kauravas and the Pandavas. And I think most of you know that story. Anyway, big thing. Basically, good versus evil. One section lies, one section doesn't. They lied in a dice game and sent the Pandavas off to the forest for 12 years. They always have to go for 12 years and be undetected. So Krishna, whose friend is Arjuna, offers the two sides. Neither one of them. He says, you can either have me as a charioteer, or you can have my army. He offers this to both sides. And so the Kauravas, who are the bad guys in this situation, choose his army. And Arjuna and the Pandavas say, no, you come and be on our side. You don't have to fight. He says, I will not fight. So, and that's where the Gita comes in, the Bhagavad Gita. This is Krishna's message of how to achieve liberation and freedom. But as he says to Arjuna, for me, son of Pritha, there is nothing to be done. In the three worlds whatsoever, nothing is unattained and nothing is to be attained, and yet I still continue to act. This is basically one of the best descriptions of the Advaitic realization as far as I'm concerned. The non-dual realization. There is nothing for you to attain. There is nothing that you have not already attained. You are, in your basic nature, divine. All you have to do is see it. Sounds easy, doesn't it? It's not. Some people it might be. I don't know. But this was his message to Arjuna, who was having all these doubts. Arjuna's a warrior, so all of a sudden he's going, I can't fight. And Krishna explains to him that there's nothing, that he is doing nothing. Everything has already been done, whatever is going to happen. It's the secret of karma yoga in 2 sentences. Non-attachment. Do your action, do it well, and let go. It also seems to be closely related to the samurai code of the Japanese. You cannot act if you are angry or have motivation for the action. The samurai always worked for someone else. They went under the orders of a king. But if they were emotionally involved in it, they would not act. I think that I've heard from some of the kids who take martial arts that the teachers are trying to instill that in them. Never fight in anger, frustration, or without control. So it's all related to this kind of thing. We have, because we have not and do not live in this world without harshness, without disturbances, what we have to do is train our minds to see the positive things, to see the things that we have to be grateful, to see what we have. Because as long as we can see what we have, we don't desire what we don't have. If we appreciate everything that's in our lives, contrary to the televisions, we don't need everything that they have advertisements for. We really don't need it. Sometimes we do. But in many cases, it's just something to create desire. And it's very difficult in this modern world to go against the whole society which is creating desire in us. It's very difficult to sit down and evaluate your life and what you have and say, no, it's enough. Because we actually make ourselves very, very stressed, tired, dissatisfied when we follow what so-and-so has. Oh, golly, that new car looks really good. It's got a better camera than my car has. Now, mind you, we drove one that had no camera, and we got another car a few years ago, and it had a camera, and I said to myself, I'm never going to use that camera. I'm not going to get used to it. Guess what? I got in one of our other cars that didn't, and I was looking at the dashboard as I was backing up. And I went, well, I guess I have gotten used to it. But it's an unnecessary desire. Convenient, yes. Convenient, very, very convenient. Probably saves people from me running into them, but not necessary. We have many things in our lives that are that. When you think back on the things of Vrindavan and how the gopis would hear the flute and drop everything and just go to find the Lord. That's all. The pots would boil over in their kitchens. Would any of us do that? I remember once one of our swamis said, if God appeared to you right now and said, come, how many would walk off with him or her? And how many would say, just a second, I'll be right there. Just a sec. Because we all still feel that we have to control something or have control over something, which I think in the long run we find we don't. We think we do. The things we have, yes, we have to act, and we have to act in a righteous and moral manner. We have to act unselfishly so as not to hurt anyone intentionally, for the good of others rather than ourselves. The more unselfish we become in our time and action, the actually happier you become. The more you think about yourself all the time, that's a little hole that gets very boring after a while. It's helping other people. Even in all of the self-help dictates, they always say, volunteer for things. Go out and give to other people. Don't sit home thinking about your own lacks or diseases or whatever is bothering you. It doesn't help, and it doesn't make anyone happy. And the person it makes the most unhappy is yourself. Everyone has problems. But all of us are here. All of us are nominally healthy enough to get here every day. So we're doing okay. We may not be perfect, but the body isn't, and never will be. That's an impossibility, because it's against the nature of it. Its very nature is birth, life, decay. There's no way out. We choose it, and we deal with it, but we can't make it our focus. To focus on things outside of yourself, helping animals, helping people, helping doing things unselfishly makes us happy. Now, the end of the Gita, there's two messages. One is the essence of realization, and the other is the final message of the Gita. The essence of what life in Vrindavan and what you do to maintain that. Krishna promises in the Gita, quickly I come to those who offer me every action. Worship me only, their dearest delight, with devotion undaunted. Because they love me, these are my bondsmen, and I shall save them from mortal sorrow and all the waves of life's deathly ocean. Now, he doesn't promise to save from all sorrow. He promises to save from mortal sorrow and life's deathly ocean. He doesn't promise to save you from this body dying. Be absorbed in me, lodge your mind in me, thus you shall dwell in me. Do not doubt it, here and hereafter. Now, if we can do this, this removes all of our fear. Because every time you feel out of control or like something's going to get you, change it and think of the Lord. Because he is always with you. I mean, I'll put it, during this last disaster here, you all know we stayed up here during the mudslides. We were perfectly safe. And we knew we would be perfectly safe. And it was like, okay, the fire came very close, but it is like the divine is taking care of us. And I think we do all of the actions necessary to do our part. We're ready for it. But in the long run, we walk off and say, it's up to God. And that has saved us. Then the final message of the Gita. And Krishna says, teach this to everyone. Give me your whole heart, love and adore me, worship me always, bow to me only, and you shall find me. This is my promise, who love you dearly. Lay down all duties, in me your refuge. Fear no longer, for I will save you from sin and from bondage. Okay, I'd like to close with a chant, and if you know Purnamada, please join me. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Full of Brahman are the things we see, full of Brahman are the things we see not. From Brahman all, yet is it still the same. Om, peace, peace, peace be unto us all.